Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of Pro Hire Truck TV. Today we've been joined with something I've been trying to track down for quite some time now, and just before we go to that, I'm out and about up in the north still, which is great for me. At some point I'll have to get my passport out and go down for the smoke, but we're up in Lancashire, up in Rosendale, right next to one of the old steam railways and some of the old museum buildings around us. Today we're joined by the Porsche Taycan, Porsche's entry into the EV market, and this one is Porsche's entry level. So it's not got all the bells and whistles on, and starts around about 75,000 quid, which for a Porsche, it's pretty sensible. It's not only a Porsche, it's an EV, so again, very sensible. This particular model, believe it or not, according to those that tell me, is outselling the 911 in Germany, and you know, why not? Now, I'm really pleased to be able to showcase this as a car, and for those who want to try and buy and get themselves into a Porsche, this is really the one to have. It's got a 92 kilowatt battery pack and should return with a WLTP of 301 miles, but you know, we should get 3 miles to the kilowatt hour on any electric vehicle today, and not just a Porsche. So it's about how you drive the car. You'll see a lot of cars today that are pulling 4s and 5s, and even those who were really into this space are driving up and down the country trying to get 6. But if you can manage 3 or 4 on something like this, you know, do the maths yourself. 90 kilowatts, you know, it certainly should be 300 miles all day. This particular car at the moment is doing about 2.5. But again, it's brand new, or very nearly new, with less than 5,000 miles on it. But it is a fantastic car, you know, really is something to behold. But let's have a quick look round it before we take it for a run. Let's push the button and see what happens when we start opening some of these here buttons. Well, actually, as in a lot of cars, whereas the Porsche, particularly no Porsche, the boots are very small anyway, and this is not, well, not by a lot of exception, but it is a small boot. But it's a lovely car. Let me just double check that. I did complain bitterly about having an electric boot and to close it ourselves. Do we close this ourselves? We do. So look at that, an electric boot, excellent. Door openings are like a lot of modern cars now. They pull out and they're ready for you to enter. It's a really solid, well-made car, and some of those who have seen some of the conversation I had about Tesla, there's no comparison. You know, the difference with this is a very, very well-made car. You know, it's superb, absolutely superb. So this car has got a charging point on that side. I don't know what's under this one. Well. What can I say? Absolutely fabulous. I think when I close this one, so AC and DC charging. So this car will charge 722 kilowatt, right up to 150 kilowatt on DC. So really effectively be able to charge this car from flat to 80% in about 40 minutes or so. So I mean, again, it's right out there. 150 kilowatts though, 90 kilowatt battery. Let's assume we're down to flat, which is charging 80 kilowatts. You know, it's 30-35 minutes to charge it up, which is again really, really useful, really sensible. Yeah, I can't believe that. I've had to look twice. How fantastic is that? A charging point on both sides of the car, which is the first time I've ever seen that. Now look, fantastic car, lovely colour. Let's take it for a run and see what this car's like inside. So here we have keys flashing, things are coming on, powering up itself, because it's recognising the keys in the car, which is great, fantastic. So look around it. I mean, what we have here is a typical Porsche layout. You know, great sports steering wheel. I say a lot of times in cars especially, you know, this has got everything you need and probably, you know, nothing you don't need, and there's not a great deal in the car. But let's have a look at what there is. You know, traditional clock, love that. You know, absolutely fantastic. Great stereo. It's roomy. There's enough room in it. I've said a few times on some of these EVs, the room in these cars is quite Spartan, but you know, we'd expect to see a bit more. Average consumption in the car, you know, 41.9 kilowatt hours to 100 miles, which is, you know, really just a bit more than 2, which I think this car's capable of much more than that, and I think that's something that perhaps we can work on going forward. But it's done very small miles, so hopefully it will improve as it goes along. This car is more than capable of 3.5 miles to the kilowatt hour, so 3 certainly should be something to work towards. You know, thick end of a 100 kilowatt hour battery, you know, 300 miles should be easily doable. Lots of decent things in here. It's got all of the bells and whistles you'd see in the Porsches. And as I said, you know, the great thing about this, or one of the interesting things for me, is it's outselling the 911 in Germany, which, you know, fantastic. What a nice looking car. So let's see if we can find out how these things work. As most people know, I just push the buttons and hope for the best. So gear lever, if you like, is on the dashboard, down for drive, and we're up and powered and we're good to go. So let's take this out for a run. Now, of course, as I said before, this car starts at an entry level of about 75,000 quid for a very high-end electric vehicle. It's very sensibly priced, I think, and when you consider that the big Porsche and the big Audis are you know, all, sorry, the big Tesla and the big Audis are all at 100,000 plus. So these cars do move up, and move up quite substantially when you look at the different trim levels and the way they're set out. But it gets you into an EV, a very nice EV at rather sensible money, a decent sized battery pack. You know, a big car like this, you know, needs to be looking at 100 kilowatts, you know, and it's right up there. And most of the big players now who are putting batteries into these cars are looking at 100 kilowatts for this type of car, because everyone's expecting to see a 300-mile range, and I think it's justified when you're paying a lot of money for these, you know, and some of these vehicles now are pushing £100,000, which is an eye-watering sum when you look at for a motor car. But then for that you need to get some return on your money, and especially with the cost of fuel today, this car needs to be doing 3.5 miles to the kilowatt hour to really start to pay some of it back. But let's give it a go and see how we go. And this is in normal mode, and it's got several modes, including sports and all sorts of other things, but we'll keep it in the normal mode and push out from there and see how we go. Wow, it's pretty quick. So it's pretty quick in normal mode. I think we'll leave it from sport today. I'm not that brave. A few things on this car which I was quite surprised about. Regen in all of the electric vehicles I've driven, to be fair, has been at all times been automatic. If you want to set it up in automatic, I've tried setting this into auto on a number of occasions. It keeps popping out and having to push a button to put into regen, and I think, you know, I think that should be automatic. Now maybe it's me that's not doing that properly, and I'm sure as many people who have chance to look at these videos later on and comment on the things I may have missed, that may be one for you to pick up on later, but certainly I've not been able to do that. One thing I do like about this, and I like lots of things about it, one thing I do like about this is it's got a little button that you can press, and you probably can't hear it properly, but it has an engine sound outside when you're driving it, so you can push a button and it sounds like a petrol car or something like that, I guess, with its traditional engine growly noise. So I don't know if you heard the pitch change when you push the button. It now sounds certainly like a more of a petrol car. However, that's great for me because I like the sound of it. But secondly, more importantly, I think in certain cases the electric cars are very quiet, and not only they're quick, but extremely quiet. And this is really quick. Wow, really quick. Not only they're quick, they sneak up on people. So if this has got an engine growling noise as you come along, you've got something that people can hear when you're pedestrians crossing, etc. So that's really cool, really cool. So I guess to a certain degree we'll take this for a spin and see how we get on, because I think this is something I'm going to enjoy for quite a little while yet, and I'll come back to you very shortly. have to say this is it's been really enjoyable, you know, and I do enjoy talking about electric vehicles, and I do enjoy driving electric vehicles. I never get tired of it, and I've said it so many times over the last couple of years where, you know, I get a real buzz out of driving electric vehicles and sustainability and all the things that go with it. You know, we do a lot of work in the commercial vehicle world and in Pro Green as well. You know, one of our big things is about sustainability and how we drive this. But the commercial vehicle world will never develop unless the car world develops for it, because that's where all the money's been invested. And it's great to see cars like this being invested. So the battery packs on here, talking about battery packs, etc. You know, this is a German car, German manufactured, German battery packs. I mean, do your research on Porsche. There's several battery manufacturers that they're joining up with, and they've invested heavily. So you look at it in this space when from battery manufacturers, all of it looks like it's a German product. And as you follow it through, depending when the cars have been made, they've moved and made more and better investments. But you know, it's really brilliant to see what they've done with this car, and I love the way that it's been constructed, the way it's built. You really know that this car's been really built really well. It's solid, it drives really well, it's so positive for the steering, and it's been designed around the Porsche pedigree, and you can really feel that. You can absolutely feel it. I'm still a bit dubious about the range you can get from this car, and I think it's driven really well to get 3 miles. Should be a basic requirement, not something you have to work hard to do. And I think that's probably something that we need to try and feel as we go forward over the next 12-18 months, and really see what some of these cars are bringing back in, because I think that's really where you want to be. Waiting list on something like this is about 18 months, and that's a long time to wait for a car. I think if you can buy one at 75,000 quid and it comes at 75,000 quid in 18 months, you've got a cheap car. I think that's the way the world is at the moment. But supply chains everywhere are really hard and really restricted. But you know, love this car, great thing. A real sports car, an EV sports car. So maybe I have to decide that this is going to be hard on fuel, because it is, in my opinion, it's hard on fuel. But as I said before, the technologies that are putting into these cars will be in the commercial vehicles and the light vans of the future, and that's how the commercial vehicle world, you know, the piece we do on our commercial vehicle sustainability for Pro Hire and Pro Green, we're putting electric vehicles on the road all the time in the commercial world. And it's great to see where some of this technology is driven from, and it's driven from vehicles like this. When you look at the group behind this and how much is being spent into EV, this technology will flow into their commercial vehicle side as we go forward over the next few years, and you can really see that. But this car is fantastic. It's a great car, you know. It's but it should be. It's a lot of money. It should be a great car. And I say, there's a lot of cars we've been in. They've got so much tech on board, you don't know where to start. This is not one of those cars. You know, it's like I said, it's with the exception of the Y from last week or last time, you know, which has got an iPad on or a tablet on the dashboard, and that's it. This car's probably got as little in as the next one down in that space, where this could be a standard petrol car. You know, this when you're sitting in, and I've mentioned that when you look at some of the truck videos we've done, certainly with the DAF and things like that, where you absolutely are sitting in a vehicle which is, instead of being space age, instead of being trying to be something it isn't, is absolutely ready for go. It could be a diesel vehicle, it could be a petrol vehicle. This is exactly the same. This is, you're getting into a Porsche. It feels like you're in a Porsche. You're driving it like you're in a Porsche, and it drives just like the Porsche would. And that has got to be one of the finest things about this car. You know, it's quick, it's really quick, it's fast, it drives well, and everything about this car feels like it's ice cousins, brothers, sisters, however you want to put it. And that is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And at entry level, where this pitched in at around £75,000, this car is good enough for anyone who wants to be in that space, at that size of battery, and that's what you want to do. And I suppose the eco person in me and sustainability piece, you'd expect to get more miles to the kilowatt hour, and I think we would if you drive it differently. But then are you going to buy a Porsche and then drive it differently? I'm not sure. So that's the, and we've been in cars that you know full well are going to do 4 and 4.5 miles to the kilowatt hour. So I suppose it's all of those things that go through your mind when you are driving a vehicle like this. You know, hats off to him, another great electric car, and I will never get tired of doing this job. I enjoy it so much, and looking at some of this technology and looking at the things that are developing. And one of the things for me, the most exciting things for me, is the amount of development that's been achieved in a relatively short period of time. I just cannot wait for what's coming out next. But let's just carry on, and we'll be back again soon. So guys, you know, as I always say, I mean, I think, you know, I'd love to spend more time on some of these things, and we only get a very few minutes to look at something which is, you know, an extremely technological car with so much tech on board and so much things, so many things that we can actually talk about and get into. Of course, everything we do available on the Pro Green website, Pro Hire website. You can take a look, have a look at these things, talk about sustainability, and of course we offer many more things when we talk about these elements, whether it's battery charging, sustainability, all the things that you can do in your business to try and help you get to where you need to be in that transition from what's going to be ICE into EV or alternative fuels over the next few years. Thank you again for watching. Please subscribe if you can. If you like what we're doing, we'd love you to do that and ask as many questions as you can. We've got plenty of things coming down the line, some really smart stuff coming up as well. And the last thing for me to do is have a quick look under the bonnet, which I try and do in a lot of these things, to see where you're going to put your cable. Have a look at this key. By the way, we've been talking about keys. Very impressive key. Lights on it and everything when you get inside. The car recognises it straight away. Fantastic key. We've had some very high quality keys recently since the last one we looked at, which was very poor. Oh, there we go. That opens up, and let's have a look at this. Whoa! Quite a deep bucket, and has a lot of things on here. You know, water wash bottle, push cable in there, plenty of room for a cable, and maybe a football or two. But really is great car. Thanks for watching, guys. See you again soon. Take care.